Hi, welcome everyone. Today I wanted to welcome you into my kitchen and show you how to make a simple sauerkraut, because this time of year is awesome for re-inoculating your gut with probiotics, specifically probiotic foods, because just taking probiotics as a pill doesn't do the same thing as actually having probiotic foods in your diet. And sauerkraut is one of the simplest ways that you can get a homemade probiotic food into your diet. So during this time of us staying at home, perhaps you have some cabbage and you can put together a simple sauerkraut. I'm channeling Nanette Davidson right now, who just did a video recently for the detox that I'm leading of a similar kraut making. So I'm going to basically show you what she did. And so what you'll need is a cabbage. So I'm using red cabbage here, and salt and some water. So with that, I'm gonna grab a spoon real quick here. So I've kind of done this like a little cooking show, so most of the cabbage is already prepped. But this is half of a cabbage that I've cut up in total. A half of a cabbage is what I'm using here. The other half is over there. So I'm slicing it really thin. You can also use like a food processor or something if you wanted to just have it shredded or chopped up really fine. Different consistencies are preferred by different people. So I'm just slicing this into thin little strips, and then I'll break them apart. I think these are just so beautiful. I love the patterns that cabbage makes. So I'm just letting these pieces come apart as I put them in the bowl here. And some of these like more middle sections that are a little harder, I'm gonna slice up in smaller pieces so they'll break down easier. Okay, so exciting. We have been eating a lot of ferments in my house. A couple weeks ago I made a purple cabbage kraut, and I also made a spicy carrot ferment. So carrots and beets ferment a lot faster than cabbage does. So just keep that in mind as you're creating a ferment. So a lot of vegetables can be fermented, but kraut is one of the most well-known ones. Oh, I wanted to show you all too. This is a book that Nanette Davidson, who I mentioned before, wrote for the John C. Campbell Folk School. That's why it's called the Folk School Cookbook. And she has a really wonderful recipe in here. Maybe you can zoom in on that. So David, my partner, is being our filming dude today. So here's a sauerkraut recipe. So you can see here, it's 1 medium head of cabbage and 1 tablespoon non-iodized salt. So I'm using half a cabbage, so I'll use half a tablespoon of salt, and that's basically the recipe. So here's my tablespoon, and you need to use non-iodized salt. That's the ticket here too. So half a tablespoon of salt there. So I'm going to sprinkle that over it. Let's see what she says. So she says, place the cabbage in a large non-reactive bowl. So either glass, ceramic, or stainless steel is best. So sprinkle the salt over it and then work the salt into the cabbage with clean hands. I just washed my hands before starting this video. Squeezing and crushing it. So this is where you get to work your hand muscles and get the cabbage smushed up. So at first it kind of feels really dry and like not much is happening. And then moisture starts to come through. So this can take a little while. We're listening to a little Miles Davis today. A little rainy day in Virginia. We've got some kitchery in the rice cooker for lunch. So I'm smelling that. So you can see, maybe you can zoom in here a little bit, that it's starting to get more moist. You can see like it went from kind of being dry to being more moist. And so I'm going to keep massaging it. Oh, look, Shannon and Kathleen are watching. You all already had this demo, but you can have it again. Maybe we'll inspire some more videos from Nanette. She's such a great cooking teacher. If y'all want to check out what she's doing, she has a Facebook page and website called Brasstown Potluck. She's quite knowledgeable, so it's getting even more juicy now. I think part of what makes kraut so wonderful is that there's the work of the hand in it, you know, like handmade things are so, there's something so precious about them. Like handmade pottery to eat or drink out of is very different than like factory made or store-bought thing. And kraut is like very handmade. You have to have your hand in the process. Continuing to knead it here. You can see on my hands they're pretty wet now, and this is just from the cabbage juice the cabbage and the salt interacting with my squeezing. If there's any juice collecting at the bottom of it. Okay. I think that looks pretty darn good. Okay, so in our household, we really like caraway seeds in our kraut. And so I'm gonna clean off my hands here. I'm gonna rinse them off real quick. Out of the way for a moment, and so I'm going to sprinkle a heaping teaspoon of caraway seeds. You want more than that, don't you, David? 2 teaspoons? David loves the caraway. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of caraway. And then I'm going to smush that in too. So now this is just salt and caraway and cabbage. Nope. Okay, and then I have a clean jar here that I'm going to pack this in. I'm just going to take it, shove it in there. I like using these wide mouth jars because I can stick my whole hand in there. So I'm gonna take a moment and just press it down, compacting the cabbage. And then put more in. Nice thing to do on a rainy day. So probiotic foods feed the gut microbiome. So if you want to get a little nerdy with me for a moment, the gut microbiome is where we our basic immunity and hormone balance and digestive health for sure arise from. And Western medicine is just learning this, like that the gut biome is so incredibly important. But Ayurveda has known that for many, many, many years, that like thousands of years, that gut health is your gut microbiome is the seat of your health, all health, body, mind, and spirit. So at certain times of the year, specifically in the spring and in the fall, are times when we want to really nourish the gut microbiome. It's the times when we detox, when we cleanse, clear out the stuff from the season before, and I'm gonna do half of this, and get ready for the coming season. So if you think about seasons in the flow with Ayurveda, the fall and the spring are the joints in the seasons, and we're moving from hot of summer to cold of winter, or from cold of winter to hot of summer. So right now we're moving from the cold into the warmth, and we want to clear out the gunk from the winter, and probiotic foods, fermented foods, are really great for that. So whenever you ferment something, you want liquid covering the top of the ferment. So this is getting kind of juicy in there, you can see, but I'm gonna make a little salt thing here. So I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons in 1 cup of salt. Sorry, 1 cup of water, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1 cup of water to make a fermenting brine, basically. And then pour this over the top there. I'm going to let it settle down a little bit. Okay, so you can see now there's a little bit of water covering the plant material. It's still bubbling a little bit. And as this ferments, the cabbage will continue to make more juice. You want to make sure that you never stick anything that's not clean in your ferment. So no unclean fingers, no silverware that has already been put in somebody's mouth or isn't clean. And so I'm going to put my cap on here. This allows for it to be in an environment where there's not airflow, and that will help the fermentation happen. This can sit on the counter for a few days. Depending on the temperature in your house, it will ferment quicker or slower. The warmer it is, the faster it will ferment, but don't put it in the oven or anything. But after a couple days, I can check this and see if it's ready to eat. And when it's ready to eat is when you like the flavor of it. So you might taste it and feel like, yeah, that's good. And then somebody else in the house might taste it and say, no, it needs to go longer. So you all can work that out. But it'll be a process that you have to check on. Every day you can unscrew the lid and just let it breathe a little bit and screw it back on. Like so. Once it's reached its perfect fermentation, you can keep it with the cap on and put it in the refrigerator so that it'll keep at that level kind of for a while, for weeks. I recommend eating a tablespoon of ferment with each lunch and dinner during your springtime meals. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Anybody watching right now, type in right now if you have any questions. Have any come up? Nobody's asked questions right now. So this is a really simple way to do this. Type your questions in below this video if you're watching it afterwards. And I hope this has been really helpful for you We want to tend to our internal biome so that we can benefit the external biome. And right now, more than ever, we need to boost our immunity. We need to create clarity and ease in our bodies and in our minds. And having homemade ferments is one of the simplest ways that you can support that for you and your family. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to David for filming, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you back here, same time, same place next Tuesday.